multifunctional civil engineering consultancy ensures every project meets the highest standards of sustainability, safety, and quality. Lanka AAC Block offers eco-friendly, lightweight construction solutions using fly ash from the Norachole power plant, promoting sustainability and energy efficiency in modern building practices. gapHQ, where innovation meets sustainability.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to our webinar towards sustainable e-waste management. It's my great pleasure to begin by introducing the Urban E-Clean project, an initiative by gapHQ, funded by the Lanka Environment Fund. Urban E-Clean is a strategic initiative aimed at improving e-waste management in Sri Lanka by addressing environmental and health risks associated with the improper e-waste disposal. With the increasing consumption of electrical and electronic equipment, Sri Lanka is experiencing a rapid rise in e-waste generation, projected to exceed 43,000 metric tons by 2030. The project seeks to bridge the existing gaps in e-waste management by analyzing the current practices, identifying key stakeholders, and proposing a sustainable framework for cleaner and a safer urban environment. This project brings together a dedicated team of international and local experts. Professor Ranjit Disanayaka, Dr. Kinkini Hemachandra, Professor Chaminda Bandara, Dr. Pradeep Gajanayake, Dr. Asita Da Silva, and Dr. Shavindra Nisanka. The Urban E-Clean project aims to develop a strategic framework for sustainable e-waste management in Sri Lanka, addressing key challenges and fostering innovative solutions for responsible e-waste disposal. For those who are looking to dive deeper in this subject, we are hosting an collaborative expert discussion and a workshop on sustainable e-waste management on August 28 for e-waste management and sustainability experts. So if you are sustainability experts or e-waste management experts, and if you are interested in participating in this event, please contact us via the email on screens info.gapresearch@gmail.com or gap.researchcenter@gmail.com. It is now my distinct honor to introduce our moderator who will expertly guide today's discussion. He is Dr. Pradeep Gajanayake. Dr. Pradeep Gajanayake is a senior lecturer at University of Sri Jayewardenepura, a chartered environmental professional at the Institute of Environmental Professionals, Sri Lanka, and an accredited green professional at the Green Building Council of Sri Lanka. With extensive expertise in environmental science and agricultural sustainability, he has led numerous green initiatives, including developing creating tools for sustainable development, promoting green education, and organizing awareness programs. Recognized for his contributions for environmental sustainability, he has received several awards, including the Outstanding Green Professional of the Year 2024 from Green Building Council Sri Lanka. A huge virtual welcome, Dr. Pradeep Gajanayake. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Vasana, and good evening, all. I think we can see more than 350 participants for this webinar. In these days, this number of people joining for the webinar it is kind of indication of how people interest on this topic. I think Mr. Janaka and Mr. Pankaj also agree with me because we have two experts to discuss this matter today, industry experts. We can start. I think Vasana gave good background information about the this project as well as the webinar. Therefore, I am not going to repeat the same thing. We can directly go to the discussion. First, I would like to introduce our two experts and resource persons here, Mr. Janaka Wijesekera from Sri Lanka and Mr. Pankaj Pania from the Nepal. Hello, Mr. Janaka and Mr. Pankaj. I think you can hear me.
Yes, Dr. Pradeep.
Yes,
Okay.
loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay, first I would like to introduce for our audience about our resource persons. Mr. Janaka Wijesekera is a chartered environmental professional with over 2 decades of academic and professional engagement in the field of environment, sustainability, and management. He holds a Master of Science in Environmental Science from University of Colombo and a Bachelor of Science in Zoology from same University of Colombo. In addition, he has pursued advanced studies in international relations, business administration, and human resource management from UK. And he is a certified lead auditor in ISO 14001 and a trained EMS consultant with professional experience in environmental management systems and sustainability practices. Mr. Janaka is actively engaging with the Institute of Environmental Professionals Sri Lanka, where he currently serves as the treasurer. We are working together I am also one of the colleagues working with him. Really happy to meet him at this webinar. Then we invited one of the experts in this field from Nepal. He's Mr. Pankaj Pania. He's a pioneer e-waste management expert and the CEO of Doko Recycles Nepal's it's a first decade electronic waste facility in Nepal. Okay, with a background in electronics engineering and an extensive MBA, executive MBA, he blends technical precision with strategic leadership to tackle hazardous and industrial waste challenges. Since founding Doko Recycles Private Limited in 2017, Pankaj has led the development of scientific protocols for e-waste collection, refurbishment, and safe disposal, and transforming Nepal's waste landscape through grassroots innovation and policy advocacy. His work spans consultancy from international organizations, public awareness campaigns, and the creation of sustainable systems that extend the life of electronics and reduce the environmental harm. Okay, I think our audience can get a good idea about the two resource persons we invited today. They have basically that industry knowledge. Okay, this is the thing we need when we're discussing about this e-waste management. We need some practical aspects. Okay, we can discuss several or many theoretical aspects. Okay, even I am also academic. We can discuss about theoretical aspects, but to manage this one, in reality, we need some industry experts' knowledge. That's why we organize this webinar today. Therefore, without taking much time, I would like to invite Mr. Janaka Wijesekera to first share some initial information to start this discussion. Then let's move to our Nepal expert. Then both of them will share some of the context related to Sri Lanka as well as Nepal. Then later we will move to the panel discussion. I think that's way is better. Am I right, Mr. Janaka and Mr. Pankaj?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we start from Mr. Janaka?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. I suppose the screen is visible for everyone. So
yes,
first
we
of all,
we can clearly see.
First of all, I would like to appreciate Dr. Pradeep, Gajanayake, gapHQ, and Urban Clean Project team inviting me to share experiences and knowledge that have been gained over the period of last 2 decades in this industry. So yes, as you perfectly correct, the things that we are discussing and ground realities, understanding ground realities is a real challenge, and it's essential component to drive successful e-waste management in Sri Lanka as well as across the region. So first, and also I would like to give some word about Mr. Pankaj Panjiyar. About a couple of years ago, we met for the same subject in Bangkok. We talk about kind of regional collaboration. How can we establish based on this subject? I suppose this is the very first time we had opportunity to align in that kind of forum and share experiences in 2 nations. So, however, so when it comes to this subject, first of all, I would like to give some kind of communication with you, the audience. So that there are lots of definitions for electronic waste. So basically, it will depend on the use or the purpose that someone is discussing, but simply we can describe whatever the unwanted electric equipments at the end of life, simply we can classify as electronic waste. Electronic waste is such important, not just because of this obsolete nature, it's growing rapidly. So even though without before end of life or before obsolete, so things enter into the waste stream. So that is why we need to discuss this matter in a broad way, as well as associated toxics in this particular commodities. So the Sri Lanka, why we need to draw our attention urgently. As I mentioned at the beginning, yes, the electronic consumption is growing up day by day. So then we need to address this subject sufficiently and productive manner. At the meantime, we know comparative to the brand new equipments, there are a couple of channels. Still, we are having a lot of second-hand items. So sometimes I may personally feel, are we get stuck in a kind of world international waste crime? So that kind of feeling, via observations I'm having when we are going around this field. So the most important part is, even though we talk about this subject, still we don't see systematic or adequate collection or recycling mechanisms that really develop formal recycling passion within the country. So while I'm telling these introductory things, so I would like to discuss about this electronic waste landscape in our nation. So the volume or the quantity is the most significant thing. As a nation, the quantification is very problematic thing, because there are no proper exact idea about what is the quantity that we are generating. In some documents, we are saying it's 25,000 metric tons per day, but international documents, they are saying it's 175,000 plus metric tons per not days or per year. So that there's a huge gap, I mean, huge distance among those 2 things. So that this is that is one, but the particular scenario is inability to tell exactly what is the generation. And also when considering generation sources, especially household level, yes, we are generating lot, office, industries, and also informal imports. Not only that, there are a lot of migrant workers and there are a lot of channels still activating to get the stuff to here. So, but we have to consider one particular factor, the entering lower quality stuff to the market, or the second-hand equipment to our market. We have to be extra careful because the lifespan of such equipment is very short within a very limited time period. So those stuff will be ended up in a e-waste profile. So in this particular subject, we know that this waste category is not just another normal waste category. It is part and parcel of kind of toxics. So under this circumstance, there should be a proper attention, proper regulatory structure to govern this sort of thing. So when I would like to give some brief idea about Sri Lankan regulatory structure. So the Environmental Act, National Environmental Act is the main provisions to regulate this subject. There's a particular Gazette Extraordinary. Under this particular Gazette Extraordinary, Central Environmental Authority would be able to regulate these things, issuing scheduled waste license for the recyclers, those who were able to earn this license. So we are calling them as a formal sector. Simultaneously, there's another thing. So that a hazardous classification that CEA has identified electronic as a scheduled waste, and for certain categories, give a code, computers, mobile phones, and fluorescent lamps. But my understanding is now this is correct time to leave out of these limitations, and we need to address in a broad way, and we have to apply this thing for a certain other electronic and electric devices. And we don't have a dedicated act or policy yet to manage this thing. This result inability to establish proper extended producer responsibility scheme in the country. So there are a couple of challenges. I mean, these challenges we need to focus deeply, because in this audience there's a nearly 400 people gathering is here, as perfectly said Dr. Pradeep. It's a very wonderful gathering. So I mean that this is the very best point that we can share our knowledge, and we can start some kind of a discussion to understand these challenges or identify further challenges that still not comes to the track. So the very first thing is data deficiency. As I mentioned at the beginning, we don't have proper data, and also whatever the available data, we have a very big concern about accuracy. As long as we are not with the adequate data, the management or designing particular management structure is a huge challenge. So that because we don't have an adequate infrastructure for collection or recycling this sort of waste. There are 17 certified recyclers at present, but unfortunately, this subject still dominate. The dominancy of this subject is still under the informal sector. They're the people who move to grassroots level and get the stuff, and with a simple or this ad hoc mechanisms they use to disassemble stuff and channel this particular waste, particular materials for different refinery channels. So the law enforcement across the all stakeholder level, this is one of the challenge, because as I mentioned a little ago, this informal sector, the regulate them is a huge challenge. Awareness and also law enforcement and monitoring. This is one of the challenge. This is especially because of the lack of proper legal provisions. As long as we don't have a dedicated regulations or the gaps in these regulations, still we are failed to develop institutional integration to combat against this particular waste category. Formal sector, sadly, need to say sadly, still not, they couldn't establish proper and effective collection system from the grassroots level. Even though I'm talking about those challenges, there are a lot of plus points in our ground. So I suppose we have to admire this situation, because these plus points are the basement to move for next level. So the very first thing is the effort of the Central Environmental Authority to develop kind of network among regulators, generators, and recyclers. About 1.5 decades, or the period of 1.5 decades, there was a effort they have been taken effort to develop this relationship. They sign MOUs and they develop, they organize different national level campaigns. It's really impactful, and it's reason for have that kind of conversation the ground at present. While the regulatory bodies are working in that way, but voluntary contributions also in the ground. So as a simple example, when you think about white good dealers, especially brand holders in the country, so they have different marketing campaigns. So once you get, when you want to buy a new one, so if you hand over your previous commodity, you may able to get the discount. This is kind of buyback system, but this buyback system they used to interlink with their available existing logistic structure, and there's a nice reverse logistic happening for this kind of material, the commodity management. So this is one of the admirable thing. So this is one area that we need to explore and do research and find out vast economical logistic mechanism. Simultaneously, Central Environmental Authority has published whoever the authorized e-waste recyclers, and they maintain through the scheduled waste management license. This is very best position, because that whatever the voluntary buyback peoples or whatever the interest parties, those who really interested to get rid of their stuff, they can channel these parties and they can get rid of their stuff. At the meantime, the private sector, recyclers and industrialists, they are developing their own collaborations for responsible disposal. This is one of the best observation that I am having. So this recycling effort, you able to extract certain items from the electronic waste, special printed circuit boards, and used to export for overseas state-of-the-art recyclers for precious metal extraction or rare earth metal extraction. At the meantime, I had to tell one other thing. In local level, there's another refinery facility also. So those are very impressive points that we need to think. You know that the green procurement structure recently established green procurement procedures, and also there's a particular discussion about social, environmental, and good governance. So these provisions really helpful to develop proper e-waste management culture in the country. There are some institutional establishments, especially TRC, Import Control Board. Those institutions directly get involved and control whatever the imports to the country. And the project like this project like Urban E-Clean or the other university involvements, that when you carefully observe, you may not be able to find a number of research papers about e-waste in Sri Lanka. But now there's a developing trend, the universities trying to do something. I suppose this is one of the best trend in this area. So when we talk about Sri Lanka, we are unable to isolate this subject, and we can't limit this subject into our territory, because this is a global issue. This is a global subject. So that we have to think about how other nations are managing this subject. When it comes to the European Union, or the especially European Union, they already impose some stringent regulations, and they develop particular directives to manage their waste quantities and apply, they implement extended producer responsibility schemes, and they are heavily working for a circular economy models to manage this. But I want to tell, still, even though whatever the regulations and all, there are lots of rabbit routes, still the amount of e-waste leaching out from their territory, and it will be ended up in another developing nations as a usable law, that whatever the different names. So the most important part is the emerging superpowers, that our next door neighbor, India, and China, they are in a superpower struggle. That material is really important for them to develop their expansions. You may remember this Russian conflict those days. So that Ukraine, they have a lot of rare mines, that how other nations try to encroach these mines. But these the emerging superpowers, rather than struggling for mining, they are working to get the essential materials through the recycling. This is some different points that we need to think about. So when it comes to countries like Japan and South Korea, they're very compliant society. The people used to manage their stuff in a responsible way. So those are the practices, those are the consumer behaviors that we need to understand and get some plus points to inculcate with our practices. So holistically, Basel Convention is the master profile. So the controlled transboundary movements, e-waste flowing from one nation to other nation. As a country, we also in this particular agreement. So this is those are the global factors really matter on Sri Lankan e-waste management. Then when it comes to the Sri Lankan ground, what are the areas that we can get? So especially how can we develop comprehensive national e-waste management policy? We may able to get example from the outside countries as well as our neighboring country. So that rather than any other country like us, we are in position to develop informal to formal recycling models with the public-private partnerships. So we may able to study different modules other nations did, or in our ground, there are certain practices still that is happening. So we can explore these things and we can regenerate some branded model and we may able to spread across the region. And there's a trend to invest for collection and logistic network. As long as we are in position to get the accurate data, we can improve this trend. Most important, local authorities. In Sri Lanka, the ownership of domestic waste comes under local authorities, but the regulations are not much new, and the hazardous waste management is not a subject in their mandate. So electronic waste, or the household level clinical or the chemical waste, those stuff is categorized under the hazardous waste. So here, that empowering these institutes to manage this kind of waste together with that particular players, formal players, is one factor need to be considered. While we are talking about other experiences and other practices, I would like to introduce one best practice that we are doing in our country. I mean, not only a couple of people, entire nation in a different magnitude, we are in this practice. So whatever the stuff, once we use, especially large commodities, refrigerators, televisions, audio, video stuff, once we use this stuff, so when we come to the edge of our interest, without just discarding as a waste, we used to give it to next economic development, next interest parties. Recently, I get involved in one other research. So I understood that the other countries in something like South Korea, when they use particular refrigerator for 4 to 5 years, in our country, the average lifestyle is sometimes it will exceed more than 20 years. Sustainability point of view, I presume this is one of the best practice that we can promote across the, but there should be a kind of modifications to make sure the quality of stuff and efficiency of the stuff, these are behind. So the next part is how can we make sure public awareness and role of the stakeholders, those who get involved in this subject. General public is the most vulnerable group to have repercussions of mismanagement of electronic waste, and they are the people who generate this kind of stuff mainly. So these people would be able to they have a responsibility to separate this electronic stuff properly and pack them well and label it properly and hand over to registered or the formal parties rather than give it to informal hands. So undergraduates and researchers and higher education institutes, they have a responsibility. There are certain challenges I have mentioned. I have mentioned certain lesson learned from other countries that these groups, these stakeholder groups has a responsibility to conduct their own research and explore more and more facts and figures and develop, improve effective logistics, recycling options, circular economy model through their R&D efforts. Professionals and industries, they have a responsibility for responsible disposal as well as responsible purchasing. So then they should be made sure their procurement structure in a green way. So finally, when we move forward from that, there are certain plus tips, there are certain challenges, but respect to the electronic waste rather than any other waste category, challenges are highly dynamic because these commodities are changing rapidly. Here you can see the background. There's one particular image. This is fiber optics. A couple of years ago, we talked about that we have a copper wire. So everybody really interested into these copper cables because there's a high value for the as a recycling scrap. But when it comes to the fiber optics, nobody not interested to accept these things because there's a no potential, the recycling potential is very less, and also potential income is very less. So even though we get a lot of benefits out of these changes, modifications, but unfortunately, this is now problem. So that because we need to develop dedicated act and dedicated policy, also action plan to manage this subject. So there should be a proper combination about awareness part, infrastructure, and enforcement. So it leads us to develop a lot of green jobs, green opportunities, green business models, circular models, etc. So finally, that this is one of the best soft tool to ensure regional diplomacy, especially environmental diplomacy, through the prevention of waste crime. I presume that my content is fair enough to start this session. Over to you, Dr. Pradeep.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Janaka, for sharing some initial information related to this one. Not initial information, you shared some very, very important, which I thought to ask in the discussion as well. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for those insights, and we will move to the Mr. Pankaj to get some information about the Nepal context and his experience about this e-waste management. Then let's move to the panel discussion. Yeah, we have a very good audience today. Then I think we have a good debate here. I think more than 450
yes.
participants here. Yeah, it will be a very good discussion. Yeah, Mr. Pankaj, floor is yours.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So shall I share my screen or you can use?
Not yet. Are you going to share your screen? I think still Mr. Janaka's screen we can see.
Yes. So if you want,
Mr.
then
Janaka,
I can share my.
could you please remove your screen share? Yeah, now okay. Now you can share.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it is now sharing. Still sharing. Yes,
Yeah.
now it is okay. Yeah, please share and go to the PowerPoint mode. I think it's better.
Yeah, it's clear now?
Yeah.
Clear, but it's still not in PowerPoint mode. But anyway, we can see. No problem.
I don't know. Yeah, it should be.
Maybe you shared that other screen, I think. Yeah, now it is okay. Now perfect.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, good evening, everyone. And it's nice meeting you all. I mean, this big mass interested in e-waste and everything. So without putting some more time on this. I'm Pankaj Panjiyar, currently heading Doko Recyclers in the position of CEO, and also I am one of the co-founder of Doko Recyclers. Here I would like to highlight 2 points actually. One is the e-waste management, how this is being happened in Nepal, a context of Nepal. So before that, we would just like to say that Doko Recyclers established back in 2017 as a social enterprise in waste management. But also we are the first company in Nepal to start the e-waste with very basic infrastructure and very limited knowledge. When we started it, it was the first step in our country. To saw the situation of the numbers of the data in Nepal about the e-waste, back in 2013, it is around 15,000 tons annual production. Back in 2000, now in 2022, it's around 42,000 tons. So from this graph, I guess you can imagine the consumption pattern. I guess similar into all the South Asian country, not it's a global pattern. In just 10 years of time, we have almost tripled 3 times the waste volume. And again, these data are coming from Global E-Waste Monitor, which is published by United Nations University in every 3 years of time, in every 3 years of a span. So yeah, so that's the grave situation of the volume of the e-waste, and we are not prepared at all for the management of this volume. 42,000 tons per year is very massive quantity for a country like Nepal. And when we talk about the policy situation, what is present context, then Nepal is a signatory country of Basel Conventions that restrict our e-waste movement. So that is one restriction, the first kind of restriction. We don't have any policy which address e-waste or which mention e-waste in our country. So there is just a solid waste management policy, and every waste is treated in that as a holistic manner, as a municipal waste, rather than treating this as a hazardous waste or a separate waste stream. We don't have that kind of policy over here. We don't have EPR policy for any kind of waste, not only e-waste, we don't have for the plastic waste or any kind of waste. No policy for the battery waste management. So all hazardous waste are like, it's just a municipal waste. And the most prominent thing over here is like a cherry picking by informal sectors. Almost 80 to 90% of e-waste are managed by the informal sectors, cherry picking. And we are lucky and we are unlucky both way. Being a landlocked country, at least we are not receiving the e-waste as the African country receive e-waste from the developed nation, being landlocked country, because we don't have the seaport access directly. Unlucky, how? Because now we have, it's a very confined country. We have to manage our waste ourselves in absence of technology and infrastructure. So we are in the both way of like problem. It's a challenge for us. Present scenario, like how this is being just a material flow I'm trying to show over here in our context. So we import all kinds of electronics and electrical devices. We don't manufacture over here. We do assembling, but again, the parts are imported over here. It's just assemblies, few assembly plants are here. So we import all kinds of electric devices. There are like a distributors and the retailers. After retailer, it goes for the household consumers, or you can just take it as an institutional consumers, bulk consumers, or whatever, and then end of life. So use and consumption. After e-waste, it becomes the e-waste. Now we have multiple channels through which it is being utilized or which is being channeled for the end of life, like the scrap collectors, which is the most prominent everywhere. But again, here is only the cherry picking. As Janaka rightly said, everyone tries to pick the copper wire, but now no one is trying to handle or no one try to manage the optical fiber, which is one of the increasing problem. Similarly, which is not being collected by the scrap collector, it goes to municipal waste stream. Some items goes for the second-hand repair shop and again repaired and then goes for the market. Open burning is very prevalent in Nepal. Open burning to extract the valuables. Like if you want to extract copper from the wire, they make a heap of it, sprinkle some gasoline on that and then burn it. So you can extract the copper. Very few are donation or upcycling. One of the main stream is like exchange of the products, and that is also that is again giving the second life. And formal recycling. Compared to Sri Lanka, we are still behind because we don't have any kind of a formal recycling in Nepal, except We don't have any entity which generates the certification or which has any certified recycler, what we call that. So yeah, this channel is almost closed one. We call Doko recyclers as a formal recycling, but again, it is being certified by Switzerland, but not by Nepal, because we don't have any kind of policy to certify the recyclers. The process, either it goes to a scrap collectors or the dismantle repair shop. It's a manual dismantle, then separate the recyclables, get the cherry picking, throw out the rest. We don't have the value. So basically, summarizing that all in that point, it's having like a cherry picking, one of the most prominent way of disposing e-waste. Landfill disposal, we don't have the value. Burnings, acid bath, all the batteries, there is acid leaching everywhere. It's acid leaching, and the illegal exports. Again, fortunate or unfortunate, like these things goes to our neighbor country because we have an open border. So that's also the one of the challenge. These are being exported to India. Almost entire the fractions which cannot be recycled in Nepal, it goes to India through illegal channels, not an illegal channel. And formal recycling, till now, only the Doko recyclers has been recognized in the country. Rest, we don't have anyone presence in the market. And I'm giving some explanation of Doko recyclers. So why I'm trying to put how we work, because in this mass audience, maybe the business case can be developed, entrepreneurship can be developed if we can adopt some of the process in miniature scale, and then you can start your business itself. So what we do, we have our own collection channels, we have a vehicles, and we have a MRF set of MRF in Kathmandu, located in our capital city. We do first, as a step 4, you can see the items when it comes, then we try to check if this can be refurbished, or if it can be added second value, or if the components can be recovered. If nothing happened, then we send for the dismantling and then for the recycling, and the rest part which cannot be recycled, either again we have to also rely on Indian context, because like the circuit boards, lithium-ion batteries, these items doesn't have any recycling setup in our country. The metals, it has the recycling value, it goes in the recycling setups, and rest and we issue the certificate of destruction. So these are the few setup I'm trying. What we are doing, we are working in like IT, electronics, and asset disposal. Most of the confidential things are they want to dispose their IT assets. So we work with every clients who require this service. We have the recycling. We tend to recycle whatever possible in our very limited infrastructures. We do data destruction on site, off site, but again, data destruction, we use the physical method like the hammering or cutting out the hard drive or any kinds of data that need to be destroyed. EPR service, though I said that we don't have the EPR policy, but there are the few companies in Nepal who opted like a voluntary EPR, like a Samsung, and Him Electronics is one of the brand in Nepal, and Philips, they opted Doko recyclers. And they choose Doko recyclers as their voluntary EPR partner. So we collect waste from them, we collect waste behalf on them, and we issue certificate to them. And electronic exchange program, we work with one of the few of the brands in Nepal who do the exchange in lieu of old to new, and then we bring all the old equipments in our warehouse. We train to repair those and again send into market, again back in the market. If it doesn't repairable, then we extract the components out of it so that the components can be reused. Now, at last, if even components are not usable, if it cannot be repaired, then we dismantle it and then recycle it, whatever the possibles. We do IT assets buyback also. That is one of the service that most of the IT companies and buy them, we refurbish them, we increase their capacity, we make them stable, and then we sell them. We have the mercury lamp disposal machines where this mercury containing lamps, CFL bulbs, that can be disposed safely. We have these machines imported from US. Similarly, to avoid the acid leaching, we do the neutralization process for all the battery collected, lead acid battery that we collect. We have few machines for wire strippers, like wire cable granulators, and the vacuum workbench for dismantling to save the environment. So these are our pictures of few pictures of our facilities, like a shredder, after conveyor belts, sorting, and all those things goes over here. And as I said, that since we don't have certifying body in Nepal itself. So we take support from Switzerland, one of the projects, through another project. So we develop a standard operating procedures, and that has been acknowledged by this REPIC, EMPA, and My Climate. This is all from the Switzerland. And yeah, me and Janaka are in the same academic back in 2018. And we issue these kinds of certificate, like where we say how much quantity has been saved and how much quantity has been worked out. I am changing my topic. What I try to show you the Doko perspective, because as I said, it might create interest to the participants. Now I'm changing topic to the sustainability e-mobility. Now everyone, there is a buzzword right now: electric vehicles, electric cars, everything converted to electric or something like that. So I like to highlight one of the story that 2 weeks back the New York Times published. Like Nepal, a country like Nepal, Nepal is the second highest percentage in terms of percentage, the second fastest importer of EV. Like every 100 vehicles imported in Nepal, 75 are EV. In terms of percentage, not in terms of number. And it's after Norway. First is Norway and second is Nepal. I guess Sri Lanka also. Am I correct? I mean, you right now this EV is coming in Sri Lanka.
Yes, now in Sri Lankan country it's also same. We are also importing lot of EVs.
Yeah. So I'm trying to bring this highlights, like EV is being promoted because everyone says that it's a sustainable. And the angle is sustainability, like replacing the fossil fuel vehicles, right? Gasoline vehicles. But as a waste management company, now I have a different version of it. So just for the definition, EV is like anything which runs on the electric motors. Now powered by, the question is powered by the rechargeable batteries. Now these batteries that we talked about, the rechargeable batteries, the recharging source can be different. Though the battery, the vehicle run in electric, the recharging mechanism, the source of recharging is different. And that's bring it one context, like what's the part of electricity in Sri Lanka? It's from coal-fired or the thermal plant and hydroelectricity. Can just someone answer me that?
Yeah, we basically have hydroelectric power, then thermal energy as well, and around less than 10% of what is wind energy. The majority coming from the hydro power.
Okay,
And
and so
thermal
that's
power.
good to know that Nepal 100% energy is hydropower. So at least that is one sustainability part. But now when you talk about the thermal, the country who is running in thermal power or the gas power plant or something like that, then the recharging source, you are burning fuel, right? So that's the question mark. Just
And
to
one
give
question that now you know that solar. Now
yeah,
the
solar.
number of
So there is another
solar
story of
energy
solar
also now
again.
increasing in Sri Lankan context.
But I have another side of this. Since being waste management, everything I have to look in the sustainability factor. Then again, I have another story of solar as well. Maybe that can we discuss after my presentation. So
Yeah, sure.
when we talk about the EV, so we have a different kinds of electric vehicle, like a battery electric vehicle. This is now very common. That is completely battery operated. We have hybrid electric vehicle where there is a motor, there is a gasoline engine as well as the battery. And when the gasoline engine runs, the battery charges. When battery charges, it converted its energy from battery to motor. So it's like a dual combo. And there is a plug-in hybrid where the battery can be charged by plugging into energy source or by gasoline engine. And the new context is now hydrogen fuel cell. It's very new context, so we are not going to discuss that. So why I asked before the context of the source, charging source, because you have to charge the electric vehicle, correct? Now you need energy source. Now see the example. I would like to highlight this. I bring out this picture, especially now how sustainable is this system? You are running a generator to charge the electric vehicle, and then we are talking as a sustainable energy mode, correct? And this is the context in most of the country who generate electricity by burning coal, by burning gas. Most of the country, hydropower is very limited. We have the abundant water resources. That's also in the form where you can use it. And solar, again, you talk about the solar. Then solar recycling, the panels, it die out in 5 years, 10 years, because the capacity increases, the technology changes, and then the solar have to be replaced with the new panels. The density of solar is increasing, so people generally change the solar. Now the recycling of solar has become the problem. We have seen the problem with the wind farm. The blades of wind turbine it's very hard to dispose. Now they are being burned inside the desert. So when we talk about the sustainability, then we have to look at different angles. And I'm very critics on this. My point always remains a critical when people talks about the sustainability with just converting something into something, as in these rechargeable vehicles. The next sustainability of the EV mobility, when you talk about the electric mobility, this is the lithium farm. And now it is being questioned everywhere. When we talk about the environment, the lithium ion, the lithium salt farming has been questioned everywhere. The way they are being farmed, the way the people are being exploited, it's creating a very massive havoc, environmental catastrophic right now, the lithium salt farming, which is the base for all the electric vehicles. Yeah, so I have changed the topic from mobility, and that I would like to discuss further. And comparative to the global world, we are still generating very less e-waste compared to the developed world. Like we have missed the global scenario. The global e-waste monitor scenario says that in 2022, the world generated 69 billion kg, in 69 million tons of e-waste. That is equivalent to almost 6,000 to 7,000 Eiffel Tower. So you can imagine the volume of the e-waste being generated. And the average per capita is like around 7.8 kilogram per capita per year. And developing nation is still below 1 kilogram, while the developed nation, especially the European countries, they generate more than 1620 kg of waste, more than triple than the average of this global scenario. So it's like, as the surge in electronic device growth increases, so will the need of more efficient means of e-waste management. And we have to act now. Actually, we are already late. We are already delayed. If we don't act now also, so likely plastic waste, which is now hue and cry of everywhere, the e-waste will be hue and cry for the next decade. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pankaj, for sharing some of the important aspects about the Nepal, as well as some global context about this e-waste management and some of the problems and that rising problems and everything. Okay, we shared some information. Now let's move to the discussion. I think I had some of the questions to ask from you at the discussion, but you already shared some of the informations. Therefore, I'm not going to repeat. But first, I would like to ask one question from Mr. Janaka. Now, when we come to the Sri Lankan context, now you said that that informal sector is mainly governing this e-waste collection and recycling process. Now, do you think that which one is the most that highest or kind of the biggest loophole in this our chain, and how we can fix it? Which loophole is there?
Yeah.
In Sri Lankan context.
Yeah, here that we have to think in a. I suppose we have to think in a different way.
I think there are several loopholes, but I am asking which one is the most important one.
You mean that the informal sector movement? So
yeah, informal, yes.
Yeah, we have to consider in this way. Now, let's say my estimation that informal involvement in a different sort of waste recycling, I presume more than 10,000 people across the island, they are operating. So this is a huge number, all right? So can you imagine how much of waste they are recovering, right? The way they recover is the issue. As a grassroots level collectors, they are doing my understanding, they are doing a significant role. So if we are unable to abolish this movement at once, because we don't have any sustainable, cost-effective mechanisms to address grassroots level collection, unless voluntary community involvement is established properly. Even though there's a voluntary commitment as long as we are unable to maintain collection structures or something, again, there's an issue. Here, that we have to be in a very balanced position. Where's the gap? I mean, how can we regulate all these collectors? I mean, that even though I'm talking about 10,000 people, almost all those people are not involved in electronic waste, but kind of thing. But there are a considerable number of people, they used to collect this, because as an example, when somebody going to collect the metal scrap, so when he have a old oven, so this is just a scrap for them. It doesn't bother about any electronic waste values. So in such case, what my understanding is that without that, I mean, advanced, without considering this particular collection network as a disaster, then we have to find out what is the way we can convert them to formal movement. The best thing is if we can track their movements with a centralized mechanism, right? So if we can control, if we can observe their movements, so this is one of the best way to understand what kind of waste they are generating and how can they distribute among other players. Because end of the day, majority of materials, once they cherry pick or disassemble, they should go for a formal recycler for plastic recycling, metal recycling, or PCB recycling. So how can we make sure kind of communication hub in between the people, those who are generating and discard these things, this kind of collectors, and where are the positions that we can interlink them to manage their disposal part. Because so whatever the disposal facilities, they used to welcome what particular commodities only for their operations. So that we have then, as long as we are in particular position to track these movements, I mean, it may be impossible at the beginning, 100%, but gradually we may be able to improve. So there are certain, I mean, that as long as we are in position to identify who are the people collect these things and who are the people disassembling these things, and we can come to some kind of estimation. So yes, that much of quantities they are channeling for the proper recycling. So whatever the balance part, I mean, non-worth recyclable stuff. So are they do open burning? Are they dumping? Or what is the solutions that we can, scientific solutions that we can provide them to get rid of their stuff in a proper way? I presume that kind of balance model we have to design to ensure that livelihood of each and every stakeholders in this subject.
Yes, then that's mean now you, according to you, that informal sector is collecting that majority of the e-waste. Now, according to that Pankaj, he said that safety and environment safety, as well as that worker safety and everything is in a danger, right? Because they don't much aware. They only looking what are the things they can get from this one. Okay, they don't know what are the hazardous things and how it affect to their environment as well as their body. Therefore, that dominating informal sector in this e-waste collection and recycling phase mean it is again it is another biggest problem. Okay. Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, please.
Yeah, here that I would like to add something for this concern. So you know that in our country, the government administration structure basically from the it's penetrate up to the grassroots level. That when you say Grama Sevaka level, this is the I mean the smallest unit that we can consider. Up to that level, how many government officials actively in their positions? They are in different positions. I mean that identify and register the people, those who are engaged in this particular subject, is not an impossible mission. It is possible. Especially, I told you, in a Pradesh Sabha level, local government level, right? So more than 300 local governments in this country. So that the database we may able to develop, we may able to establish. But once we get these inputs, so then we know that the regulatory structure again is split into the different levels. I mean, every district level, there's a way to monitor. That as Pankaj said, yes, when the informal people, when they are operating, they don't bother about environmental safety, they don't bother about personal safety. But this is the part that we have to impose. I mean, those factors we may able to regulate. There is for certain waste categories, now it is applying, especially local government level. I mean, without waiting extended producer responsibility scheme from the national level, even local government level, there we can get for certain initiatives.
Yes.
Right? So we have to find out what are the legal provisions available in our system, and we can initiate those things. In a small level, if we start something, definitely we may able to expand, and finally we can interlinkage these segments, and can we move for a holistic solution.
Yeah, exactly. I also agree with that because we have to start from somewhere. Then of course, then we can go that the national level regulations or control. Yeah. Anyway, I'm coming to that same question from the Pankaj. Okay, when we come to the Nepal context, you explain nicely. But now I would like to that focus. What is the main loophole you find in the Nepal context? To
Actually,
collecting and that collection chain and this recycling chain, and what are the things now you in as an industry you did to correct it?
so actually the largest, the most critical loophole is also the most critical opportunity as well for our context, and I guess it goes for the Sri Lanka as well. The placement of legislation, the control mechanism, see, the informal sectors are really, they are like a backbone of this all collection value chain. Because even the some formal company comes, they cannot create that massive network which already has been created. Correct? So if the loophole which is not existing in Nepal, like the policy which control them, if we can create the control mechanism for that loophole, and these informal sectors can be uplifted, and now they can be certified as a formal sectors, clubbing them together, they can be capacitated, they can be build up the capacity with them, and that creates a business opportunity as well. Because if you have a already established network collection value chain, you know you have the volume of quantity. If you can quantify, even not, then you can have a ballpark number picture, then there might be the investment in infrastructure. Some investors can have a confidence because we have the set, we have the legislation, we have the collection value chain that has been incorporated in the formalized sector. Someone who is controlling it. So that's I'm saying it's a loophole as well, at the same time it's a big opportunity as well. So yeah. So presence of control mechanism with legislation, and if there is a EPR, then definitely that's the added beauty of the whole system.
Yes,
And
thank you. I agree with you. And please.
Just to add on, again, open border from Nepal and India is again a big loophole, because even if we cannot control that, and if you want to establish a formal recycling setup which requires an investment, and the materials keep flowing to the India, then will not the investor will not get, the factory will not get the recycling material. So yeah, that's a secondary loophole. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anyway, now Pankaj, there one is no small question now. Maybe you have some experience about the global context as well. Now, suppose you mentioned about that Japan or something. Now, I also have some experience, but I would like to know about from you. Now, of course, the Japan and South Korea is now they doing well in this e-waste management sector. And what is the main thing? Do you think it is because of the rules and regulations, or because of the awareness, or because of the technology? Which one is the most critical factor?
It's not just a one pillar. It's basically two pillar it's required. The technology, definitely e-waste is critical, e-waste is hazardous, then you need a better technology. It cannot be handled as a municipal waste. So it is must, and to sustain that technology, you need to have proper policy, incentivizing policy. Somehow these things, there is a negativity also when you recycle, as Janaka said, to recycle the optical fiber, it's a negative value because you have to spend the money. So invest like incentive from the governments or some policy that supports this running out. So that are the things in the developed nation which they already have. Like when you go to the Europe, they have the very good EPR system where you have the prepaid system. You pay the recycling tax while purchasing the goods, and now that recycling tax goes to the recyclers, the collectors, the entire players of the value chain. So that recycling tax is sustaining that business. It's not that everything can be earned from the recycling business itself. So like that taxes are good. India is doing very commendable job in placing EPR very strictly for the e-waste.
Yeah.
Like there is a recycling targets, the recycling EPR certification. So yeah, this is the way you can start building up step by step, and it will take years to come. It's not like a one shot go. And not one shoes fit all. Country to country, it might be different, but yes, the baseline is that you have to build technology and there should be the policy.
Yes, that's mean as Mr. Janaka mentioned that yeah, we need holistic approach, right? Yeah. Again, I'm moving to Mr. Janaka. We can see some of the questions already coming from the audience as well. Anyway, before we go to that audience question, I would like to have one last question that now this is kind of awareness program, that is webinar about e-waste management. But beyond the awareness, what practical aspects can citizens or households take to become active participants in solving this e-waste management in Sri Lankan context? What is my responsibility and what is your responsibility now in the individual level? What is the where we can start?
Yes, I mean, that is a very important part because consumer behavior, consumer involvement is the precious part to initiate proper management. So the very first thing is responsible consumption. It will start from the time that you start to use these devices. I mean, when you get the devices, you have to be extra careful. Are you in a correct channels or are you in a correct requirements? Because there are, according to a country like us, there are different income strata. So then everybody can't go for a branded stuff but everybody should have a rights to get get access to these devices. So in such case, so there should be a kind of aware that what is our exact requirement. For example, that every single person have a number of mobile phones, right? So is it for our exact requirement? This is one thing. So when it comes to the other commodities, are we going to have this particular item for our requirement, or are we going to have these items for some other purpose? Because that all our consumptions, not because of our requirements, for the demonstration purposes and a lot of things, we used to get these things. And also, as long as we are not with the compatible and we are not in a position to match our requirements, so then we are in a trouble. So the best thing is, how can we select the stuff and how can we maintain these things? You know that in our country, that our culture is not just a throw it away culture. We always used to repair these things, right? There are a lot of people. They have very skillful people, individuals available across the country. They are capable enough to repair this stuff, right? So that actually, when we talk about green jobs, we didn't recognize these people as these services as green jobs. So what is the repairable potentials without just throw it away, that we are practicing these things? I mean, when it comes to your level, sometimes in your finance capacity, you may not be able to interest to waiting for repairs and you may shift it to new one. So let's say even you go to that extent. So there's a responsibility. What is the next level that you can deliver your stuff? And how can you deliver it in a good condition? So The next part is when you discharge your one, let's say that when it comes to the particular position, definitely you have to get rid of. So when it comes to that position, so how can you make sure quality of waste? Nobody not concerned about quality of waste. Used to just throw it away, right? So without actually the electronic waste, this situation is very less compared to the other stuff like papers or something, but still the quality of waste is better than simply. So when you scrap it or when you cherry pick these things, the formal recyclers are unable to get used this properly because it's a real hassle for them to manage. Right? As long as you are make sure quality of your waste, it got convenient them to use as a recyclable stuff and they can properly disassemble. And also, when you have access to get rid of your waste through the formal sector without concerning some kind of benefits offering from the informal sector, I suppose you have to go for formal sector because formal involvement is a costly affair. Yes. So sometimes they need kind of extra payments to manage it. As long as if you enjoy something, so without make burden on the environment, if you can spend something, I suppose as a capable person, I suppose it's a great initiative. That kind of consumer level initiatives you can apply. And also the most if I summarize that the cascade behavior, the repairing behavior, selection of right goods, and also make sure quality of waste and channel to correct parties. Those principles that you can simply use in your life.
Yes. Yeah. I have one interesting question for the Mr. Pankaj from the audience. You can see in the Q&A session. Before I move to that, now this is this is a kind of awareness. Now, when we come to this gapHQ, now this e-waste project mainly handling by the gapHQ, which is funded by the Lanka Environment Fund. Now they're doing a good job on this e-waste awareness and things. And I have to call our audience. Now, maybe if you are doing some research or something related to this e-waste management and e-waste awareness or e-waste related things, you have opportunity to submit research papers for our sessions. There are 2 conferences coming in September 27, that biomimicry conference. There is a special session on e-waste management, as well as the Candy conference. It is one of the famous conference happening in Sri Lanka. This time it will happen on December 12, 13 and 14. There is another session on e-waste happening there. If you have any interest on this research publication, you have still have time to submit your papers to those 2 conferences. That is one message I want to pass. Yeah, as I mentioned, that gapHQ as well as gap R&D, now basically they run in this e-waste management project. Anyway, now I move to the Mr. Pankaj. This question actually came from the audience. I thought it may be a kind of interesting question. You can see, I think Ganadeepan, he's sent question: what is the possibility of incorporating computer vision and AI technique to identify and track e-waste in Sri Lanka? Okay, now not I am asking not about Sri Lanka, but is there any possibility to use this one? Now he's asking what is the possibility of incorporating computer vision and AI techniques to identify and track e-waste? Is there any possibility, or do you have any idea about this one?
So, like use of AI can be in multiple way. At least for the data tracking can be one of the things where the AI can support you. And similarly, AI can help you to understand, like, in any part of any fraction of e-waste, what is the hazardous component, so that you don't think like a mobile phone. When you talk about the mobile phone, we see that a mobile phone is very safe to use, but maybe down there are the heavy metals inside the mobile phones. So AI you can get information from AI, like what are the hazardous components of the same mobile phone, which we call as a safe, right? And not every e-waste can be tracked, because you have some where electronics chips are used, but you have the e-waste where you don't have anything electronics where it can be tracked through AI. like a water pump, water motor. These are the electrical device, but according to definition, this is also e-waste, correct? So yeah, so but AI can help you, like the flow of material, like either you are importing or you are producing or you are manufacturing. And now where these materials are going, how much volume is being consumed, how much volume is being generated, and how much being collected by the informal sectors or the formal sectors, what are the percentage of the recycled materials. So you can develop something using by AI, but yeah, it's basically AI is just a data tool, or it's a thing that you can learn it, but in actual ground system, it has to be on groundwork.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, one
Dr.
last
Pradeep, I would
thing.
like to add something for this
Please.
question. I mean that that is concern, Mr. Anandipan's concern on computer vision and AI techniques is okay. But I mean, before that, tracking e-waste in Sri Lanka, when it comes to this one, so, you know, there's a comprehensive mechanism in import motor vehicles to Sri Lanka. Once you import your vehicle, if custom is not properly declare these things, you are unable to register same in a RMV. Right. Likewise, there's a particular comprehensive model already under the Telecom Regulation Commission. So without their registrations, it's not easy to get used in Sri Lanka. Also, there's another mechanism, import control board. So when somebody really wants to import used stuff, there should be a special protocol and procedure. But the thing is, we don't have a proper interlink among all these institutions, right? Sometimes we may able to, that not sometimes, actually with a simple QR code or the particular tracking code, easily we may able to track them, and we can collect all this stuff in a particular way. Therefore, there should be a central database. You can start this central database from the point of import gates. But unfortunately, even though we are in a that instead of this kind of imports, there may be another rabbit routes, and we may able to get some stuff in other ways. AI techniques you may able to use in some other way. So as an example, when you say this electronic circuit boards and all, the precious metal contents and rare earth metal contents available in mostly in these commodities. So trace whatever the areas, whatever the items that really valuable for this way, so that you can apply. But all these things still in a research level. But the issue is when it comes to the electronic waste, we are unable to think just only the wealth of the material. We have to consider environmental cost associated with this stuff. So there's another two questions related to the CFL and fluorescent bulbs disposal in Sri Lanka. Yes, there's a serious problem in our country. So the same issue was for cathode ray tubes, old televisions. The cathode ray tubes, CFL, fluorescent bulbs, all these stuff, those are kind of declining subjects right now. Those commodities are not much promoting. If I'm not mistaken, Central Environmental Authority has some kind of initiatives to ban this CFL or fluorescent bulbs. But anyway, that the accumulated
quantities... Now use also getting reducing, right? Now
yes,
people also rejecting it.
Yes, because that you have an option. As long as you are in position to use LED bulb instead of fluorescent bulbs, right? So this is one best alternative that you can enjoy without make a environmental burden. When you select LED bulbs, still you have to be careful, because you have to be very careful, because some that means the low quality stuff, this is not much environmental friendly. So that whatever the accumulated CFLs and fluorescent bulbs, yes, it is a problem in Sri Lanka. It's very difficult to get rid of. So again, this kind of stuff without breaking, store in a safe way is the best option, and avoid such materials as much as possible is the most workable solution.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I would like to add I would like to add for the CFL bulbs, what we are doing, I have shown in my slides. We have imported one machine from US. It's a air cycle company. So it is especially designed for the mercury lamps, I mean CFL or any tube lights. So what it does, it doesn't recycle, but what it crushes the mercury lamps, it collects the mercury vapor in the filter, which convert into amalgam form. And now this filter can be stored safely for future if in some time, because these are the rare, mercury is very rare and very expensive. And if there is some recycling solution and there is scarce, now mercury value is very high. Now you can extract that mercury liquid from that filter. So you can postpone for now, like what we do, we collect, and one cartridge, one filter can collect the mercury vapor from 3,000 lamps. So after it fills, we concrete them. In one bucket, we put them and we concrete them. So the hazardous part of the CFL or mercury lamps is the mercury vapor. It's a neurotoxic. And so we are postponing, and after concreting, it can be stored for like 50 years. And it can be used as urban mining in the future. If you know the place where you have a mercury stored, that might be a kind of a fortune for in future might be. So it's like a postponing, but it prevents emitting the vapor in the environment. So that's how we are dealing with the mercury lamps. You can note down the name, company name. It's a air cycle, and the device is also not expensive. It's around 5,000 USD. We have imported from US. And if you want, someone wants, and we charge for disposal. People can dispose through our machine.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Pankaj, for that answer. And there are several questions asking from the audience, but now I got a message from the our organizers. We have to stop here. Yeah, we have many things to discuss. Yeah, I know it is not time enough, but now we have limited time in this webinar to discuss this matter. Anyway, now I would like to share to the audience. There is a workshop on 28th, and I think our organizers maybe share that link and things. And you can join to that workshop to learn the one-day workshop to learn many things about, and we invite some of the experts to share that knowledge and some practical aspects as well. Therefore, please register to that workshop, and then you can get more knowledge about this e-waste management. Okay, and I want to give my heartiest thanks and to Mr. Janaka Wijesekera and Mr. Pankaj Pandya over the way from Nepal for joining with us to share this knowledge with our Sri Lankan. Not only I think Sri Lankan, some of the foreign people also in this audience. I think they got good knowledge about and good background information about this e-waste management. I have to apologize for the audience. You may ask some question and still asking, but we have limited time. Therefore, I would like to hand over this mic to Mr. Vasana to conclude this webinar. And thank you very much, Mr. Janaka again and Mr. Pankaj again for joining.
Thank you for giving opportunity over here to express.
Yeah,
you are
welcome, and see you one day in another webinar.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Pradeep.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Ms. Vasana, his floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Pradeep Gajanayake, and sincere thanks to our esteemed panelists, Mr. Janaka Wijesekera and Mr. Pankaj Panjiyar, for their invaluable insights. So this webinar is just a beginning. So if you want to truly become an active participant in this solution, we would like to warmly welcome all the e-waste management experts and sustainability experts to join us on this workshop, expert collaborative discussion and workshop on sustainable e-waste management, which is planned to held on 28th August. So please contact us via the emails on screen, info.gapresearchcenter@gmail.com, gap.researchcenter@gmail.com. On behalf of the entire Urban eClean project team and gapHQ, I would like to thank you all for your participation and your commitment to forging greener and sustainable Sri Lanka. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you very much, Vasana.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.